Welcome to the EOB Podcast, where we talk about the weekend box office and the new openings this week. I'm Benno, and joining me is Sen Dong. So, hey, Sen, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. It's freezing.
Yeah, it is freezing, chilly morning, Tuesday morning here, and hopefully you're keeping warm.
Sort of. Trying my best.
All right, we're getting by. So, hopefully, we're welcoming some new listeners, maybe.
Oh, sure.
Oh, okay. All right. So, we have 3 new Y releases last weekend. That was the opening last weekend. The horror movie, The Bye Bye Man, Monster Trucks, and Sleepless. And we were pretty off on some of our projections.
Yeah, what were our predictions?
We'll get to that, but
Okay.
just to the new listeners that are tuning in, like fortune telling, right? Our projections are for entertainment purposes only. It sometimes might hit the mark, other times it might be wildly off. So for the Bye Bye Man, we didn't have high hopes for it, right? We said about, around roughly 5 million. We were wrong on that. Monster Truck were kind of off as well. I said 5 to 10, you said about 5. Sleepless, I said about 10, you said about 8. We're pretty close on that.
Yeah, we were right on at least one of them. 1 out of 3.
Okay, so how about we jump right in to see how these movies did?
Sure.
Okay, the number 1 movie over the weekend. We're going by the 3-day figures, but we'll talk about the 4 days as well, since it is the MLK holiday weekend on Monday. So the number 1 movie over the weekend is Hidden Figures.
Again.
Again, it surprised, you could say upset Rogue One last weekend, the weekend before this one, by making a bit more than Rogue One.
Yeah, speaking of Rogue One, last weekend we mentioned that they might have overestimated their figures just to be number 1 for another weekend. It's something that the industry does a lot. No, they have actual figures for Friday and Saturday, and they estimate the Sunday figures so that they can give out the news for Monday's newspapers. So a lot of studios, when the numbers are close, they will try to estimate a little higher just to be the number 1 movie. A lot of people were suspecting that Rogue One was doing that because they way overestimated their Sunday figure compared to Hidden Figures and other films on the list. And they were off by a couple million. So Hidden Figures was actually the number 1 movie of last weekend.
Yes. And also another movie that features the African Americans as a top movie. I think last year was another one of those, right? I forget what movie was released last year around the same time. I believe, was it Selma or something like that?
Could be, I don't know. I don't think it's Selma because Selma didn't do that. I mean, they did okay. I don't think they did this well.
Yeah, but we're talking about January though. Let me take a look. Okay, it was on January 18th.
Okay.
Close enough. So Ride Along 2 was last year.
Okay, and that did really well.
I guess there's a theme here. They're releasing, movies with African American leads, and they usually do pretty well on MLK weekend. And Hidden Figures is another one that took over the top spot from Rogue One for the second week, as we said, with 20.8 million for 3 days. And the 4 days is 26 million.
Right. If you just compare the 3-day figure, it did just as well as last weekend. The drop off is only about, if you do the 3 days, only about roughly 9%. And after a couple of weeks of wide release, it's already at 55 million on a budget of just 25 million. So remember we were saying, hey, this could be, The Help. Was it The Help?
Yes, The Help.
Yeah, so we said it could be The Help or it could be, a lower grossing African American movie. And this ends up being The Help because by the way it's going, you'll probably end up making over 100 million.
Oh, right. This movie appeals to, I guess, a wider group of audience. It went beyond the typical African American crowd.
Right. And that's what we alluded to in the previous weeks when we said, hey, this could attract a wider audience. And it looks like it has.
Yes. All right. How about we move on to number 2? It's La La Land. It added over 300 more theaters, and it pulled in 14.5 million over 3 days. The 4-day figure is 17.5 million. If we took into account the 4-day figure, it actually came in number 3 instead of number 2.
Yeah, which is yeah. So La La Land continues to expand and it continues to do better week after week. It made, just based on the 3-day figure, 43% more. than last weekend.
Yes, and it's quietly closing in on 80 million.
Yeah, it's at 74 million right now, and it looks like it's gonna definitely, especially now, will make over 100 million at a budget of 30 million, and I don't think many people expected this. It's a musical. It's another film about making it in the entertainment industry, and it's probably one of the more hyped Oscar movies that is doing really well at the box office.
True, but La La Land also falls into one of these categories where they're trying to rejuvenate or try to remake all these musicals of old. We saw it with Moulin Rouge. We saw it with what's that other movie?
Oh, you
Chicago,
mean like
right?
Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago. Even you could say The Artist was one of them, where it's black and white silent film. They're trying to kind of remake this movie, and when it works well, it works really well because it's not something that you could see every day in theaters. And if it's good, like well reviewed, well regarded, like La La Land, it'll do well at the box office because like I said, it's not something that you could see every day at the box office.
Yeah, something different.
Exactly. Okay, and coming in number 3 is Sing. It pulled in 13.8 million over the weekend. That's for the 3-day figure. 4 days, it was actually number 2 with 19.1 million. The domestic gross right now is about 238 million.
Yeah, on a budget of just 75 million. Like we said last week, Sing, when it first opened, we were like, oh, this is, going to be one of Universal's, Illumination's, despite being decently well reviewed, it'll be a solid hit, but not, not the Minions, not Despicable Me. And now it's looking like it's up there. It's going to do probably as well as Despicable Me, if not a little bit better.
Well, okay, let's speak for yourself. I think I was higher on the movie than you are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like in the beginning, were you predicting a higher gross, or were you predicting it to do just as well as the Minions?
Well, actually, I think we both predicted the opening to be pretty high. I think I said between 45 to 50. You said 35 to 40. I think it opened lower than both our projections, right? But
yeah, right.
But it held on. It has legs.
Yeah. And that's what we meant, because it did slightly less than what what both of us had predicted. We were thinking it wouldn't be this leggy. It wouldn't end up making, over 200 million. But it has, and it looks like it's going to do as well as, I guess, if you were predicting Minions numbers or Despicable Me numbers, it will do that kind of number. It will do that well.
Yeah, and it also helps that Sing is I think the only animation in theaters, right? It's targeted toward kids.
Yeah, right. And during holiday weekends, they tend to do really well. Yeah, and it's still going. Still going strong.
Okay, how about we move along to number 4? It's a movie that we both didn't have high hopes for.
And neither did anyone in the industry.
True, except STX, its distributor.
Right.
It's the Bye Bye Man, a horror movie. It pulled in about 13.5 million over 3 days. The 4-day figure is 15.3 million.
Yeah, and that's, roughly twice as much as its budget in one weekend. It's going to be a profitable film from here on out.
True, but I have to say that horror movies are kind of hard to predict. Sometimes they do really well, and sometimes they do really poorly.
Yeah, and we were both expecting this to do poorly because the premise seems so generic. Unlike some of the bigger hits recently, their premise tends to be a little bit more unique. Like for instance, what's that latest horror hit? Don't Breathe.
Yeah, Don't Breathe. The blind guy, Stephen Lang.
Yeah, that's kind of unique. Different premise on a horror film, but the Bye Bye Man seems so generic. It just seems like it's one of those things that are pulling from all these horror films, using techniques that we've seen in The Ring or in a gazillion horror films. We weren't expecting much.
And also the lack of anyone notable in the movie besides maybe Carrie-Anne Moss. I mean, who I guess career peaked with the Matrix movies.
Yeah, but these horror films tend to not cast like people who are huge draws, because one of the things with horror films is you can make them for the cheap, and when you hire someone who can draw in anyone, it kind of defeats that purpose of the genre.
Right. Yeah, the thing with horror movies is that it's a low budget, right? And
you make it cheap.
Returns.
Yeah, that's why the only notable people we see in horror films tends to be people who are way past their prime.
Right. Faye Dunaway, I didn't know she's still alive, really. But there she is. She's in here. Really?
All right.
Well, And maybe part of the appeal with the Bye Bye Man is that it tells a familiar horror story, maybe? Kind of like Ouija. You say a name 3 times, the Bye Bye Man 3 times, and, this killer appears.
You know what?
Maybe that's part of the appeal.
I wouldn't know, because I was pretty low on it. I can't see what the appeal is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if we knew, we'd be making horror movies, right?
Yeah.
Instead of talking about horror movies.
Yeah, if we knew, we wouldn't have predicted like a figure that's 3 times as low. 3 times lower.
Right. I mean, like I said, it doesn't star anyone notable, right? It doesn't have any.
Well, Carrie Ann Moss, except she's kind of way past her.
Way past exactly. And
days.
This movie doesn't really feature any eye candy, right? It doesn't feature a lot of gore, at least shown by the trailer, right? So it's kind of mystery to us.
Well, lately the most successful horror films, maybe possibly because of James Wan, have been cleaner horror films. They don't focus on gore. They focus more on, psychological scares. It's not blood and guts anymore. It's kind of like a PG-13 type of horror film nowadays. So,
all right.
But I'm sure after, a couple more years of this, we'll see the return of blood and guts. And TNA.
Right, these things goes in cycles, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but then I have to apologize to the Bye Bye Man. I was making fun of it, and it proved me wrong. Proved us wrong.
Yeah, it got the last laugh.
Exactly. All right, number 5. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. It pulled in about 13.4 million over 3 days. The 4-day figure is 17.1 million. Hey, $500 million domestic already.
Yeah.
And worldwide is nearing 1 billion at 983 million.
Yep. Not much more we can say about this.
Nope. So bring on episode 8.
Yeah, I thought that, Marvel is Disney's most commercially viable or, successful brand, but it looks like Star Wars got it beat.
Well, look, it survived George Lucas.
Well, we only seen 2 films so far, so it's a bit early.
True, but again, it survived George Lucas storytelling.
Right.
I mean, after all these years, in better hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could probably do more, and it did do more.
Right.
Okay, number 6 is Patriots Day. It put in about 12 million over the weekend in 3 days, and the 4-day figure is 13.6 million.
The budget is actually lower for this. 45 million. It's not like Deepwater Horizon. That's like 110 million. For a Mark Wahlberg, Peter Brook film, that's kind of on the low budget end. It performed worse than what either of us had projected.
Yeah, I said 35 and you said 25.
Yeah.
So we thought that it would be closer to The Lone Survivor, but this one is leaning more toward Deepwater Horizons. I mean, is this the new normal for these Peter Berg and Mark Wahlberg collaborations?
Yeah, it seems like it's been on a very steep downward spiral. You have Lone Survivor, which opened to like 38 million, and then Deepwater Horizon did only about 20, and now you got 12 million. All 3 of them were well reviewed. They're decent films. But it seems like the trajectory of this team up, this combo, doesn't look good on a commercial level.
Right, on a commercial level. But also, they all have in common is that they're very well covered stories. They're based on very well covered stories. Yeah, with Patriots Day being the Boston Marathon bombing.
Yeah, well, I didn't think something like Deepwater Horizons would be a huge draw at the box office. Mm-hmm. A disaster movie in an oil rig.
Well, before it was that movies that's kind of based on a real life disasters usually don't do well at the box office. We have like that minor movie.
The
33 or something like that. And
but then we have Sully. Sully did well. Sully.
Why? But that was the only lone exception, right?
Yeah, recently.
Yeah, that was the lone exception.
So yeah, it doesn't look good for these things. Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of this. These are decent films. It's just that they're not catching interest from audiences.
All right. Okay, number 7, moving along, is Monster Trucks. One of the new releases last weekend. It pulled in about 10.9 million 3 days, 15 million 4 days.
Which is a lot better than we were predicting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is sort of an audience for this, but I think the budget for this movie is kind of higher than that, right?
Yeah, I read that it was 110 million.
Wow.
It's a monster dud.
Right, and so far worldwide it only grows about 30 million.
Yeah, it's just one of these, I read on, I think it was Total Film, they were like, hey, the director said something like, you've never seen a movie like this, we have a monster inside a truck. But at the same time, sure, it's unique, but it's a very odd film. It's kind of a very odd premise.
Well, like we said in the last podcast, right? We don't know who this movie is targeted towards, right? Is it kids, teenagers?
Well, obviously,
so,
they're trying to target kids, but the problem is, kids can't drive, so they have to throw in a teenager. But obviously, they're targeting kids because teenagers won't be going to a movie about a little, squid-like monster hiding under a truck.
Right. I mean, they could also make the monster driving the truck with the kids inside, but maybe that's not somewhere they want to go with, or have any association with,
Yeah, that has no basis in reality. That's the problem.
Or parents don't want their kids getting any ideas about driving a vehicle.
Right.
Well, it did better than what we expected, but with the 110 million budget, wow. Yeah, huge stud.
I'm surprised they were able to sell this to an executive and go, hey, I want 110 million to make this movie. But hey, whoever it is a good salesman.
Right, that's true too. And pretty sure unless it does well, really well overseas, we won't be seeing a Monster Trucks 2. Okay, moving along to number 8 is Sleepless. It pulled in 8.3 million over 3 days, and the 4-day figure is about 10 million. And this is the
Jimmy Fox.
The Jimmy Fox action thriller. He stars as an undercover cop who's out to kind of blow the lid on the operation, right? But then his son got captured, and he's out to get his son back.
Right. This is kind of his take on the Tekken films, I guess.
Right.
And it did okay, right? Kind of where we had it.
Yeah. We both had it around 10 million-ish. I say 10, you were closer at 8.
Yeah. But, we're not going to be seeing any, sequels. There won't be a Sleepless 2, for instance.
Right. Not like Tekken, right?
Yeah.
With the Liam Neeson movie, it kind of blew up, and he has to be paid lots of money to be in sequels.
Yeah. And now there's a TV show. Yeah.
Right. And I don't think Jimmy Fox will be getting any offers for Sleepless 2.
Right.
All right, moving along. We're making good time, I think.
Okay.
Underworld Blood Wars. It put in about 6.1 million 3 days. The 4-day take is about 7.3 million. One of the lower grossing Underworld movies.
Not one of the lower. The lowest so far.
So what went wrong, Sen? What went wrong?
Still, at a budget of just 35 million, you'll probably end up making about 35 million domestically. I think the worldwide figure is at 72 million, which means they will make a slight profit worldwide. It looks like it's already open everywhere. Even worldwide, it might be one of the lower grossing films in the franchise. I think, like most of the films in 2016, most of the sequels, people just have sequel fatigue.
Yes, and it's also one of the Underworld movies that wasn't directed by Kate Beckinsale's husband, Len Wiseman.
Right. And I mean, the reviews were horrible, but it was never a well-reviewed franchise. Even at 18% is one of the worst review ones. I think the other ones were at least at 35% or somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think the previous movie was the highest, right? The highest grossing movie in the series.
Right.
With this latest one, it just fell off a cliff. So, which is kind of odd to me, right? You'd think you would see a gradual decline, but...
Well, the previous one had the draw of Kate Beckinsale is back, because the one before that, she wasn't in. So, there's a couple of things. The previous one does have...
Yeah, it was her return. The previous one was her return
to the previous one was her return to the series. And there's also... The previous films in the franchise have a 3-year gap. If you look at it, the first one was 2003, then next one was 2016, and 2009, and 2012, and this one has a 5-year gap. So they just waited a bit too long. Like we've seen in even Rush Hour 3 and other films, other sequels. When you wait too long, interest just dissipates.
That as well, and this is the 5th movie, right? I mean, making it to number 5 is a feat in and of itself. Where can you go on from there, especially when you don't... the exception is really the Fast and Furious franchise, right? Where every movie did better than the previous one, and they were able to somehow expand the storyline.
Yeah, they changed the vectors for everyone, and except Justin Lin did a couple of them, and he kind of rejuvenated the franchise with 4. With the Fast and Furious franchise, they at least kept on cranking them out on a more regular basis. Between Underworld, Awakening, and Blood Wars, they waited 5 years, and that seemed like a bit too long.
Oh, that's true. But also with the Fast and Furious one, those movies tied in. They're taking multiple movies to tell pretty much the story, right? Instead of just ending it here and then starting up a new one. But they're all interconnected, kind of like the Marvel movies.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So you think they'll make another Underworld movie, if only for the overseas market?
I don't think so anymore, mainly because they waited 5 years for this, so it took them a while. And this one, I mean, we will still have to wait and see when the dust settles where it's going to get to. But so far at 72 million, it could get to 90 or 100 million, but the 35 million budget is pretty low, so they might still make a profit. It seemed like it took them a lot to crank out another sequel, and because it kind of underperformed, I don't think they're going to make another one. This might be it.
Yeah, it seems like people are ready to move on, right? Lynn Wiseman is not directing anymore, and Kate Beckinsale, she's getting up there in age. I'm not sure how much action movies she could do. So
yeah, but still, yeah, it's already at its 5th one. It's underperforming. Doesn't look good, even as a business.
All right, who knows? We'll probably look at a reboot at some point.
I think it'll be like the Taken, most movies, they'll take it to TV, like Rush Hour TV, Taken TV. I have a feeling they're going to go direct to video.
All right. We'll see what happens. All right, let's round out the top 10 with Passengers. It's that sci-fi movie with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. It pulled in 5.3 million 3 days and about 6.5 million 4 days. So not much of a bump with the extra day.
And it's at 90 million. Yeah, so it's at 90 million on a budget of 110 million. And when it first opened, it was disappointing, and we didn't think it's gonna get this high. And it's looking like it'll probably get to 100 million, if not a little bit more.
Yes, and worldwide it's at 237 million.
Yeah, and with that figure, even at a budget of 110 million, they're gonna make a small profit. And of course, when it comes out on video, all the Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt fans will probably see it.
Yeah, so when it first opened to what the movie
like
opened
about
to
20 million or something, which is
25. It opened less than 14.8 million.
Oh yeah.
Everyone said, even including us, said it was a bomb. It was gonna bomb.
Yeah,
but.
Right.
Surprisingly, it held on, and it did really well overseas. So that's why we're seeing at the 237 million. It's closing in on 100. It's going to surpass 100 million at some point.
Yeah, domestically, like even on a domestic level, it's it's not bad. Sure, it costs 110 million, but it's going to probably finish at 100 or 105. And if the studios want to brag, they'll let the theaters keep it on until it reaches 110, then they can say that, hey, we at least made back our budget domestically.
Right.
I think expectation-wise, people were probably expecting better, but after it opened so disappointingly, now everyone's looking like, oh, this is doing pretty well.
Well, not pretty well. It did better than its opening. But it still kind of didn't do that well.
Yeah, it didn't do that well. But I think that people are looking at it in a better light than when it first opened. Way better.
Oh, right. It didn't bomb. It's not in the company of like the Lone Rangers, right?
Yeah.
And John Carter.
Because when it first opened at only about 15 million, we were calling it a bomb. Right? Most people were calling it a bomb at 110 million. But now it's looking like it's gonna be a modest hit.
Yep. True. Okay, let's move on to the new releases. Since we wrapped out the top 10, we're gonna have quite a couple. January and February is a month where people dump their films, squeeze them in because why not? All the other spots are taken, the good spots. So we have, how many do we have?
Like 5 or so.
Yeah, we have I think 4 new releases and 1 expanding, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so we have XXX3, the Vin Diesel action movie. We have Split, the M. Night Shyamalan horror thriller. We have The Founder, a movie with Michael Keaton as a quote-unquote founder of McDonald's. And then the faith-based film, The Resurrection of Gavin Stone, and expanding is 20th Century Woman with Annette Bening.
Which one should we start with?
Okay, let's start with the biggest movie, Triple X3. The Return of Xander Cage. The return because in XXX2 he wasn't in it.
Yeah.
Star Size Cube. And now he's back. Vin Diesel is back playing the Triple X, the international man of mystery.
Yeah.
And he's not returning just by himself, right? He's bringing with him Donnie Yen, Samuel Jackson,
Yen, Samuel Jackson,
Tony Jaa.
Yeah.
They're not pulling any punches with this movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's looking like he wants this to be another Fast and Furious franchise.
Okay, explain what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, like, he even got Tony Jaa from the previous Fast and Furious film to participate in this one. And he's got Donnie Yen, arguably the biggest action star in China right now. And he's also pulling in big Indian actress, so I can't pronounce her name. So, and judging by the trailer and all the over-the-top crazy stunts and action sequences, he wants this to be another Fast and Furious film.
So you're thinking that Donnie Yen, Tony Jaa, they're going to be regulars in this movie?
Well, I'm not sure if they're going to be
or as at least in subsequent movies.
I don't know about that. I'm just basing it on how he's pulling in like other established action stars to make this a bigger film.
Right.
The Fast and Furious films eventually kind of became the Expendables, except with actors who are still in their prime. Kind of. Well, not really, but other big action stars. Like it was even they were even fighting for the same stars. The two franchises, the Expendables and Fast and Furious, were fighting for like Kurt Russell, and they were fighting for, and even Jason Statham was in both. So
and with the way their schedule works, they could be in both.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with you there that he's trying to make this into a long-running franchise with the Triple X movies by bringing all these people. Before it was just him, right? As this lone wild maverick, the government or whatever calls him in, used to take care of things that could not be taken care of by their regular agents.
Yeah.
And now he's bringing in like you say, the biggest name overseas.
This one has more of a Asian emphasis, like most of the big name people are from Asia that they're bringing in.
Right, and true, and he's also bringing in elements from his the Fast and Furious franchise, like exotic locations, right? They travel around the world to different places, all these action scenes. Right. And I think by bringing in all these people, I think they are going the same route as well. Location matters in a movie, right? Especially in an action adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what do you think? The trailer looks kind of fun and kind of obviously everything is super over the top. Mm-hmm. But because of the Fast and Furious films, over the top looks pretty normal now.
True, but they're gonna go even over the top, over the top of over the top.
Yeah.
So the first Triple X opened to 44
back in 2002. Back then is huge. Yeah,
it's huge, and 277 worldwide. Triple X2, which Vin Diesel was not in, Star Size Cube, it opened to 12 million. That's in 2005, and 71 million worldwide. So now Vin Diesel is back, and he's a bigger star than ever. Mm-hmm. In his element, really, right? We said that Vin Diesel contemporary action usually do very well.
Yeah. Okay. On Rotten Tomatoes, there are only 2 reviews. They're decent, not great reviews, and they're not from any of the top critics. But at least they're kind of decent reviews. So what do you think? What number are you putting on this?
It is an action movie, so it might not have that big of an appeal, but it does appeal to the international crowd, right?
Yeah.
It grabs the Donnie Yen fans,
it grabs the Jaa fans,
Jackson fans, Tony Jaa fans, and Deepika Padukone fans as well. Why not?
Thanks for trying to pronounce that. I saw the name.
All right, that's what I'm here for. So it not only appeals to the local action people, it appeals to the international action people.
Yeah.
right? So if you don't like Donnie Yen or you don't like Vin Diesel, you might like Tony Jaa or you might like one of the others.
Yeah, or some of the women.
Yeah.
I guess here's the thing with this one though. Remember the Taken films? It used to be this is the January has become like the month for the Taken movies, and those do really well. It seems like the Taken movies have gone to TV. I think it's an opening for Triple X.
Right. We have yet to find a successor for Liam Neeson and his Taken movies.
Yeah, and obviously Jimmy Fox couldn't do it with Sleepless, and I think it opens up the door for Triple X. Or not.
Look, I can bet money that Triple X would open better than Sleepless.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's not saying much, but but they could do better. All right, let me throw this out there. I think it's gonna be able to do even better than the first movie, open better than the first movie. That's probably 45 to 50 million.
Well, you think it's gonna be that huge?
I'm thinking it's gonna be that huge.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know because it's been a while since the first Triple X movie or the second Triple X movie.
True, but you have to think this is not a Triple X film. This is a Vin Diesel film.
Yeah, this is really Fast and the Furious. What number are they? 8.5 or 7.5?
Yeah, 7.5 film, right? And this one has Donnie Yen, who is on the rise here, right? I mean, overseas is huge, right? In China, right? He's like you said, arguably the biggest action star.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was recently in Rogue One.
Rogue One, yeah. All right, so you're going 45 to 50?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a bit high for me. I was just thinking like maybe 25-ish, but I could be wrong.
25 seems low to me since, we're talking about Vin Diesel. Even though he is not The Rock, as consistent as The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, I think he can hold his own.
Yeah, this is the kind of film where he's kind of in his element. And he's got, other action stars joining him. But, it has been a while since, the first Triple X.
Right, true.
And I'm not sure how many, they promote it as Fast and Furious 7.5, but I don't know people will view it as such. And it is January, and sure, there's an opening because the Taken movies have gone to TV. I'm going conservative on this. I'm going 25 million.
All right. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I think this movie will be huge overseas, if not here.
Yeah, it looks like the kind of movie that would do huge overseas. Although, let me see. I don't think XSX is that high on it either. XSX has it at around 28 million.
Okay.
So you might be
lower than mine.
Yeah. So we'll see, but who knows? You could be the only one who's right on this.
Okay. All right.
All right.
We'll see how it goes. Triple X.
Okay.
I'm putting my money on Triple X. 3.
All right.
Return of Xander Cage.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. Split. Split is M. Night Shyamalan's take on a person with multiple personality disorder. Except this one, there's 20, what did they say in the trailer? 25 different personalities?
20 plus. I think it was 28 or what. I don't know. Some number, huge number. Instead of 2 or 3, right? They're throwing a bunch of personalities in this one guy.
Yeah, and it stars James McAvoy, a very good actor. So at least he's chose a very good actor to play all those personalities. And, this is another film, M. Night Shyamalan kind of made his return, shall we say, with The Visit. It's one of his better review films and actually a decent sized hit, especially compared to his budget. And it looks like he's doing the same thing with Split. He's now no longer making these 100 million budgeted blockbusters. He's kind of making them for way smaller costs.
Right, typical horror movie budgets, right?
Yeah, and I'm hearing pretty good things about this. The reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are pretty good. It's at 81% with 21 reviews so far. The only thing is, there's the Buy My Man, which did decent last weekend. So, I don't know, I'm putting in about 15 million.
15 million?
Yeah.
The Visit opened to 25 million.
Oh, okay.
And it did 98 million worldwide. Okay, say what you will about M. Night Shyamalan. His only problem is studios giving him, like 100 million budget for a horror movie.
Yeah.
To do horror movies. Right? But the movies always did kind of decent, even though his bombs.
Yeah, they always do on a commercial level decent. Not doing nearly as well as like The Sixth Sense or Signs or his earlier hits or even Unbreakable. But now he's kind of doing these films on a more conservative budget, and it looks like it's his return to form now. These films are better reviewed. He's no longer a joke anymore. Especially if this does well, then his cachet, his reputation, he's bringing his reputation back.
Oh, yeah, and it looks like this is another low-budget movie, right? Probably in the 5 to 10 million range. James McAvoy, as you say, is a pretty good actor, and, he's tasked with playing all these different personalities. And Anya Taylor-Joy, who I think gained a couple fans with The Witch, that other horror movie that did pretty well. So, it's a M. Night Shyamalan movie, so The Visit opened to 25.
Yeah.
So,
The only thing is, I'm not sure how big the weekend is after MLK weekend. But I guess it doesn't really matter. If you have the right movie, you'll draw in an audience no matter what.
Yeah, like I said, the money is there. It's just that depending on, the movie.
Right.
You say 15, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking 15.
Okay, I'll throw it out there, 20.
You're going 20?
I'm going 20.
You're going huge because, you're going 45 to 50 for Triple X and then 20 million for this. So it's going to be a huge weekend for you.
I know. I think I might be over on Triple X3.
Yeah, but you might be right on with Split.
By 10 million or so, I think. But I'm going to stay with that.
Okay.
And let's see if the money is still there for Split.
Yeah, or for any of the other films that are opening.
Right, which we'll get to, right? Which we're getting to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to take on The Founder or 20th Century Woman or Gavin Stone?
Let's do 20th Century Woman, which is really well reviewed, 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. It got some nominations in the Golden Globes. I don't think it won any, did it?
Not that I'm aware.
Yeah, and it might get some nominations for the Oscars. So, well-reviewed film. How is it doing on limited release?
Let's see. I think it opened around New Year's, around New Year's weekend. Let's see. 4 theaters had a per theater average of 27K.
Which is pretty solid.
Solid. And then let's see. The weekend of January 6 to 8 is expanded to a couple more theaters. Has a per theater average of 13K. And then this past weekend expanded even more. It has a per theater average about 10K.
And okay. I'm thinking it might be one of those that gets burned out. So I'm thinking 3 to 4 million.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm kind of giving it a solid 5 million. Good round number.
All right.
Could be less too, but 5 million.
Yeah, despite being so well reviewed.
Yeah, but this is one of these really indie movies that sort of appeal to the older crowd, right? Women especially. But this is kind of like older woman, not younger woman who would want to go out in theaters and brave, the crowd with Triple X3 in theaters.
Or Split.
Even though these will be playing in art house theaters, right?
Yeah, it's true.
So, 3 to 4 for you, 5 million for me for 20th Century Woman. So, which one you want to take on, Gavin Stone or The Founder?
The Founder.
All right, let's move on to The Founder. It's directed by John Lee Hancock, the same guy who directed Saving Mr. Banks, The Blind Side, and The Rookie. It stars Michael Keane as this sales guy who kind of latched on to a brother's idea of making McDonald's, the fast food restaurant, into a chain. And I guess he kind of undermined the brothers and took over their restaurants and turned it into a empire.
Yeah, I'm not sure how interesting it is for a mainstream audience to watch how McDonald's came to be.
Well, it existed, but the guy who kind of turned it into the juggernaut that it is, even if he used underhanded methods.
Right.
Screwing over the people who created the restaurant. My concern is that why is it released on January 20th? Why isn't it getting an awards run?
Yeah, true. But the reviews are pretty good, 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, with 46 reviews already. So it's a solid movie. But in terms of appeal, I'm not sure how big it is. So I'm kind of going with the 5 million or less.
Okay, I'm there with you as well. Because it's getting a wide release for a movie that I'm not sure has that wide of an appeal.
Has it opened in limited release?
It didn't say. Probably not.
Oh, it's from the Weinstein brothers, the
Yep.
Weinstein company.
And you know, with the Weinstein, they would try to market even Split into an award contender, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised
But
this isn't
they're
getting
not doing
a
it with the
bigger-
founder.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised the reviews are decent. I'm surprised that they're not pushing this in front of everyone's faces for the award season.
Yep. So, okay, if I say that Triple X3 is gonna do so well, Split is gonna do so well, I don't think there's a lot of money left over for the founder.
Yeah,
Or our next movie.
Resurrection of Gavin Stone.
Yes, The Resurrection of Gavin Stone. So, it is a faith-based film about this, is it an actor? Sentenced to community service, and I guess he has a priest or whatever is looking after him, and he assigns him to this play, to play Jesus Christ, the story. Kind of like that.
Right. It's hard to predict these movies.
Yes, true, because, you know, as we said with faith-based films, it could do really well, or it just be just there and then just disappears.
Yeah.
Which do you think this will lean? Which direction do you think this will lean?
Maybe it'll disappear. I'm thinking 2 million.
2 million? You know what? I watched the trailer and I kind of liked it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I don't think it's as heavy-handed as
Yeah,
the
that is
other,
true.
faith-based films. It's
Yeah.
more like a romantic comedy, you know,
Mhm.
with some religious elements, faith-based elements.
Right.
But the movie doesn't really star anybody.
Most of them don't. Although lately they've been putting in people with better name recognition. And even directors.
True, they're making more money, but you know, you could say the biggest star is the wrestler, Shawn Michaels.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, Shawn Michaels, yeah. That's true.
So I don't know. The wrestling fans are huge, right? But like we said, do they want to watch wrestlers act, even though they are acting
Yeah, yeah,
in their wrestling show?
yeah.
So another one I'm gonna throw in with you. It's not gonna be released that wide. I kind of like the trailer, but I don't know. Okay, 5 million.
Alright.
All right, we got through the new releases, at least the major ones,
Mm-hmm.
with us kind of differing quite
On
a bit
Triple
on,
X.
Yeah, Triple X: The Return of Xander Cage.
I guess where we differ is how big of a hit this is going to be. Well, I mean, it looks like an expensive movie. I'm not sure what the budget is, but it looks expensive, and it might have to be one of those that has to open in your range in order to make a profit.
True, but the thing is, I think they are targeting the international market by casting all these international movie stars
Right.
as well. So it might not need, even though if it opened in your range,
Mm-hmm.
right, it could still do really well overseas, which I think it will do well overseas because it's that type of movie.
Yeah, true. Especially with Donnie Yen, there's the China market, the huge China market.
Right, and I don't think he'll have one of these smaller roles. I think his role would be pretty big in this movie.
Yeah, his role is pretty big in this one. So, we'll see how big it is. I'm saying about 25 million, which is kind of where XS has it, and you're on the 45 to 50 million. And it could go either way, actually. I think it could go as high as yours.
Your number is kind of the safe number, right? The
Yeah.
typical action movie, but I think
Yeah.
this could appeal to more people because it has the international actors, right?
Yeah.
It appeals to the international crowd.
Yeah, pretty diverse crowd. And I think the interesting thing with Triple X is they kind of market it as Fast and Furious 7.5. So if they get even a small chunk of that, it'll still be pretty huge. But I'm just being conservative.
All right, and then of course Split, M. Night Shyamalan's movie. His return, I guess. His movie took a beating. his recent ones anyway, but now he's returning with The Visit, right? And now Split, and so far the reviews are pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And like we said, his movies have always been sort of consistent, always did well. But but if you compare it to the budget, then it didn't do well. But now he's returning to what a horror movie should cost.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna continue to make more movies. And you had a 50 million opening. I said 20. We're pretty close. So it's about right there.
Right, and the rest, this is leftovers.
Right. So with the founder, 20th Century Woman, and the resurrection of Gavin Stone. I mean, the resurrection of Gavin Stone could surprise us because faith-based movies tend to be unpredictable, kind of like horror movies. They could do really, really well, or just bomb.
Just there, yeah.
Yeah, just fickle. Audience are fickle for these type of movies.
So we'll see.
Yes, we reached the end of the podcast. So we will come back next week and see how we did with our predictions on the new releases.
All right, see you guys next week.